Welcome to the AmeLiaRun channel. My name's AmeLia, and today I'll be reviewing the R.A.D UFO. This is a review made in the hopes of helping inform buyers of all levels of running, regardless of where and when they're shopping. My reviews will be time-stamped, as usual, for easier reference. This is a shoe I purchased for myself in my size 8.5M with my own money, so opinions are my own. Typically I just go right into the review, but I want to talk a little bit about the company themselves. So R.A.D is a name that not everybody might know. It stands for Rally Against Destruction. They are a independent shoe brand based out of, or athletics brand based out of Portland, Oregon, and their founder is Ben Massey. Ben Massey is a CrossFit athlete competing in the CrossFit Games. They made very stylish gym shoes, and after that, they kind of dipped their toes into running, and this shoe has been divisive, mostly I'd say because of how, I'll say it's successful their marketing strategy was. They had a very robust marketing strategy with like social media for a lot of runners. You saw a lot of running influencers covering these shoes, and with that, there's always kind of a mixed reception, but I always had my eyes on them. It was on my bucket list to get around to reviewing them, so I'm very happy that we get to review these today. Getting into nerdy details for the R.A.D UFO. This is a shoe that released in October of 2025. It is 8.8 ounces. It has a 42 millimeter heel stack, 34 millimeter forefoot stack for an 8 millimeter drop. It has what it has listed as a soup foam, is what they call it. It is a Piba blend foam, has a rocker geometry, as well as a pod outsole. Also has what they call a zonal warp mesh upper, very comfortable upper, and it is marketed at $200. So looking at the shoe here, I will say that the fit was true to size. 8.5M was perfectly fine for me. I usually have to change the laces on these. I actually didn't even have to change the laces, so I had a lot of good luck there with that. So I guess with that said, with the fit, because I always have a little bit of a wider foot, I imagine for some people who like narrower shoes, this won't be the right one for them. This was plenty roomy. I was very comfortable in this. Never had any issues with dialing in a good fit. I will say, as far as the fit throughout the run, didn't shift around a whole lot. I thought that might happen. Everything kind of kept really firm, and firm in a good way, not like a restriction firm. Like everything was just right. It's a very interesting shoe with it's a very comfortable mesh upper, but then this fabric kind of material here in the back and around the heel counter. Were very comfy, even in some more summery kind of conditions that we've been having, hotter weather. I thought I'd be sweating up a storm in these, and they were actually really breathable, so I really appreciated that part of it. I will say, unfortunately, the biggest area for refinement in this shoe is where I think its projected durability will lie, because I'm looking here at the bottom. This exposed rubber outsole down here, it does have some I'm going to steal the term from Brooks, Glycerin Flex, because I love it. Podular, so this podular design where there's some more kind of pods of a little bit more exposed rubber out here. Those parts are okay, but the rest of the exposed foam, a lot more wear. Particularly on this lateral wall. I supinate, yes, but it's really starting to wear down, and this has been only around 45-50 miles, which gives me pause. I'll say it's a shoe I love to go to, but the wear makes me worried about its long-term durability. I've had even just a couple road scuffs kind of as I go through my rocker here, and it's tearing it up quite a bit. Like usually something I see from a shoe at around like 200 miles. So, like I said, area for refinement. I know this is the first one of its kind as far as like that line of shoes. I'm hoping if there's a second version that maybe a more pronounced, maybe a little bit more of a protective rubber outsole is considered. I think that would take the shoe to new heights for sure. I mentioned, upper doesn't really seem like there's like maybe like really more than anything, maybe a bit of staining, but like I've taken this out on a couple different weather conditions. There's a lot of different reasons that could be. Kind of like this fabric kind of material up here seems like it's kind of a little bit of a dirt magnet. I'd imagine it might clean pretty well, but those are minor complaints as far as durability. Getting into the ride versatility and value of the shoe, the ride is so comfortable. Like the ride in this is wild. It is great. It is really smooth across all my paces. I've taken this out for long runs, daily miles, easy miles. I even kind of dabbled into some strides in it. It's athletic enough to go with strides. I wouldn't build an entire stride like day, like an entire stride session around it. But if you have some strides at the end of a long run or a daily run, I think this shoe will rise to that occasion pretty well. And I think that kind of dips into versatility. It's a very versatile shoe, especially if what you want from a super trainer, especially at the $200 price point, right? I think that part of it makes this a no-brainer for a shoe. Unfortunately, as we talk about things like value, I think the value is hindered by my concerns with the durability. If that's something that you feel like you tear through your shoes pretty easily, maybe like your shoes, for whatever reason, your mechanics, you feel like you're a little bit harder on your shoes, this might not be the right choice for you. But if maybe you don't have those issues, maybe you don't supinate, maybe you don't overpronate, you don't have these things that exist where your shoes are going through a little bit more wear and tear than an average runner, that might be a completely moot point for you as far as durability affecting how you find the value. I also always have to say I love all these shoes. It's like picking a favorite child, but $200 is a lot to ask for a pair of shoes, right? I understand that's not going to be for everybody. That price point's locked out for a lot of folks. I get it. I will say that this is pretty dang near close to what I'd imagine a $200 pair of shoes will look like. Definitely better than, say, like the Brooks Glycerin Max 2. I think it is at the table with a discussion of maybe like the Vomero Premium, or kind of a couple, I think the Plus is like 170, 180 right now, the Nike Vomero Plus. I think that's a fair comparison for the shoe. I don't think it comes as close to, say, something like the Super Blast or the Mega Blast from Asics as it does some of those other names we already mentioned. But that's okay. I love quirky new little shoes like this. Obviously, some people are going to be really off-put by this design. It's not for everybody. The colorways are not for everybody. But if you aren't really so glaringly distracted by that kind of thing with a shoe, it's more than how should I say, technically sound for a runner. It's something where appearances aren't necessarily indicative of the results of the shoe, right? Getting into final thoughts for the R.A.D UFO. I mentioned a lot of it as we progressed here, but I think this is a real funky looking shoe. It is a shoe that is fun and quirky. I think that it has some areas for growth, particularly with its my concerns with durability with that outsole, but the foam inside of it is really good. I really love that. I think that this is a very, very strong freshman outing for the shoe. it makes me eager to try the other shoes that R.A.D's been working on. I just purchased the R.A.D Mallow. They should be coming in the mail. Hopefully by the time this review comes up. I'm really looking forward to trying that one out as well. Again, like I've mentioned this with like brands like Tier. I'm always going to gravitate towards rooting for smaller brands like that. I like the Gusto. I like seeing new names in the mix. It's ultimately harder to find in your everyday stores, which can kind of, I mentioned $200 being a lockout kind of thing for a lot of folks. Indie brands can sometimes be a little bit hard for accessibility for maybe you live in like a Midwest state or somewhere where you don't have a lot of like specialty running stores. Like you're not gonna find this in like some your common kind of spots that you might go to commercially, but that's okay. It really is. I always advise caution for folks. I'm like, you get a pair of shoes, try it on. As long as you don't go running and tearing them up, you just kind of research return policies. But it's definitely worth a shot. It's definitely worth a shot to look into. I really like these. I like these a lot more than a lot of other super trainers. But with that durability concern there with the outsole, I'd be curious to see how far these go. I'm almost definitely going to be doing a long-term review of this. I am pessimistic when it comes to that durability side of things, but I'll be sure to sing the praise that I know I'm going to have for how this ride is. So with that said, I hope you found this review helpful. I hope you found this review informative. Please consider subscribing. I make weekly reviews similar to this. With that said, hope you're all staying healthy and safe, and I'll see you all in the next review.